The Western Conference, French, Conference de l'Ouest, is one of two conferences in the National Hockey League, NHL, used to divide teams. Its counterpart is the Eastern Conference. History. Originally named the Clarence Campbell Conference, or Campbell Conference for short, it was created in 1974 when the NHL realigned its teams into two conferences and four divisions. Because the new conferences and divisions had little to do with North American geography, geographical references were removed. The conferences and divisions were realigned in 1981 to better reflect the geographical locations of the teams, but the existing names were retained with the Campbell Conference becoming the conference for the NHL's westernmost teams. The names of conferences and divisions were changed in 1993 to reflect their geographic locations. Then new NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman made the change to help non-hockey fans better understand the game, as the National Basketball Association, National Football League, and Major League Baseball all use geographic-based names for their conferences and divisions. However, the trophy awarded to the conference champion, the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl, retains some connection to the heritage of the league. In 2005, following the lockout, the league changed the Western Conference logo, along with the Eastern Conference and NHL logos, to its current form. Along with the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference was temporarily abolished for the 2020-21 NHL season after the COVID-19 pandemic forced a realignment of the league to preclude the need for teams to regularly cross the Canada-United States border. For 2020-21, the four Canadian teams competed in the newly formed North Division while the five remaining Pacific Division teams from the U.S., along with three American teams from the Central Division, formed a reconstituted West Division. The other three remaining Central Division teams stayed in that division and were joined by five American teams from the Eastern Conference. These changes have been reversed for the 2021-22 season. Divisions. The Campbell Conference originally consisted of the Patrick Division and the Smythe Division. The 1981 realignment moved the Patrick Division to the Prince of Wales Conference and added that conference's Norris Division instead. When the names of conferences and divisions were changed in 1993, the Western Conference's divisions became the Central and Pacific. Realignment in 1998 added a third division, the Northwest. The Northwest Division was dissolved in 2013. Its American teams joined the Central, while the Canadian teams returned to the Pacific. With this 2013 realignment, the Central Division is based almost entirely in the Central Time Zone, the only exception being the Colorado Avalanche, who are in the Mountain Time Zone, and the Pacific Division is based entirely within the Mountain and Pacific Time Zones. On June 22, 2016, the NHL awarded Las Vegas an expansion team that began play in 2017, and thus brought the total of Western Conference teams to 15. The NHL awarded a franchise to the city of Seattle on December 4, 2018. The Seattle Kraken began playing in the 2021-22 season, increasing the Western Conference to 16 teams, and the Arizona Coyotes moved to the Central Division from the Pacific Division to balance out the conference. Champions and Playoffs. Main articles: Clarence S. Campbell Bowl and Stanley Cup Playoffs. The NHL's playoff system has changed over the years. Prior to 1982, the NHL had a unique playoff system compared to the NFL, NBA, and MLB. Playoff teams were seeded regardless of conference. As a result, two teams from the same conference could meet in the Stanley Cup Finals, as happened in 1977, 1978, and 1980. Under this system, the Campbell Conference champion, and therefore the winner of the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl, was the team that finished with the best regular season record in the conference. Ever since the introduction of the conference finals in 1982, the Campbell Bowl has been presented to the Campbell/Western Conference playoff champions. In the playoff system introduced in 1982, the top four teams in each division made the playoffs. The first-round winners met in the division finals, and the division final winners met in the conference finals. In this format, the division standings tended to be very static. In the Norris Division, for example, the Chicago Blackhawks and St. Louis Blues never missed the postseason under this format, while the Minnesota North Stars only missed 3 times. In the Smythe Division, the Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers missed the playoffs only once and the original Winnipeg Jets twice. In both cases, this usually left the other 2 teams to fight it out for the last playoff spot. In most years, this format resulted in the strongest teams during the regular season being forced to meet in the first or second round rather than the conference finals. For instance, in 1985, Winnipeg finished with the 4th best record in the entire league, only to be forced to meet 5th best Calgary in the first round before losing to 2nd best Edmonton in the division finals. From 1994 to 2013, the top 8 teams in each conference made the playoffs, with the division winners being guaranteed the top seeds, top 2 from 1994 to 1998, top 3 from 1999 to 2013, and home ice in the first round regardless of record. Unique between 1994 and 1998, a series involving a Central Division team and a Pacific Division team was a 2-3-2 rotation instead of the normal 2-2-1-1-1 format, with the higher-seeded team having the option of starting play at home or on the road. A new playoff format was introduced as part of the 2013 realignment. Under the new postseason system that was first used during the 2014 Stanley Cup playoffs, the top 3 teams in each division make the playoffs, with 2 wildcards in each conference, for a total of 8 playoff teams. The NHL's Central Division was formed in 1993 as part of the Western Conference in a league realignment. Its predecessor was the Norris Division, and it's also one of 2 successors to the Northwest Division. The Chicago Blackhawks have been a member of the Central Division in all of its seasons since the original 1993 realignment. The Arizona Coyotes, as the original Winnipeg Jets, Dallas Stars and St. Louis Blues were also original members of the division, but were realigned to a different division for a while before returning. Both the Coyotes and Stars were moved to the Pacific Division in 1998, the Stars moved back to the Central in 2013, and the Coyotes followed in 2021, while the Blues were moved to the West Division during the temporary 2021 realignment. 3 of its teams, the Minnesota Wild, Nashville Predators, and Winnipeg Jets, as the Atlanta Thrashers, joined the NHL in the league's last expansion phase between 1998 and 2000. The 4th team in that group, the Columbus Blue Jackets, was once a member of the Central Division, but moved to the Metropolitan Division after the 2013 realignment. After the addition of the Vegas Golden Knights to the Pacific Division in 2017, the Central Division was the only division in the NHL without 8 teams. This situation remained in effect until the 2020-21 NHL season, when the COVID-19 pandemic compelled a radical realignment of the divisions, including the temporary abolition of the Eastern and Western conferences. The Central Division was the only existing division retained for the 2020-21 NHL season. Only 3 of the 8 Central Division teams for 2020-21 were members of the division in the previous season. The Central Division has sent 5 teams to the Stanley Cup playoffs on 7 occasions. In the first 3 seasons after the realignment of 2013, Central Division teams occupied both wild card playoff spots in the Western Conference. This occurred again in the 2018-19 season, for the 4th time in 6 seasons. In the pandemic-shortened 2019-20 season, all Central Division teams made the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs due to the 24-team format. The Arizona Coyotes are a professional ice hockey team based in the Phoenix metropolitan area. The Coyotes compete in the National Hockey League as a member of the Central Division in the Western Conference and play at Mullet Arena in Tempe. The Chicago Blackhawks are a professional ice hockey team based in Chicago. The Blackhawks compete in the National Hockey League as a member of the Central Division in the Western Conference and have won 6 Stanley Cup championships since their founding in 1926. The Colorado Avalanche are a professional ice hockey team based in Denver. They compete in the National Hockey League as a member of the Central Division in the Western Conference. The Dallas Stars are a professional ice hockey team based in Dallas. They compete in the National Hockey League as a member of the Central Division in the Western Conference, and were founded during the 1967 NHL expansion as the Minnesota North Stars, based in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Minnesota Wild are a professional ice hockey team based in St. Paul, Minnesota. The Wild competes in the National Hockey League as a member of the Central Division in the Western Conference and play their home games at the Xcel Energy Center. The Nashville Predators are a professional ice hockey team based in Nashville, Tennessee. The Predators compete in the National Hockey League as a member of the Central Division in the Western Conference, and have played their home games at Bridgestone Arena since 1998. The St. Louis Blues are a professional ice hockey team based in St. Louis. The Blues compete in the National Hockey League as a member of the Central Division in the Western Conference. The franchise was founded in 1967 as one of the 6 teams from the 1967 NHL expansion and is named after the W.C. The Winnipeg Jets are a professional ice hockey team based in Winnipeg. The team competes in the National Hockey League as a member of the Central Division in the Western Conference, and is owned by True North Sports and Entertainment, playing its home games at Canada Life Centre.